Hello and welcome to the AC Talks podcast. Here we talk about business trends and news on the technology market. If you're listening to us through podcast platforms, be sure to follow us. And if you're watching from YouTube, subscribe to our channel.
Good day. We talk about the most important, but often in an early stage cancelled Scrum ceremony, the retrospective. Why is it so often skipped by teams? My name is Leen van Toor, and my guest is Agile consultant Cris Kaal. Cris, before we dive into the retrospectives, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Leen. So since 2008, I work as a coach with Agile and Scrum, and I worked at different companies who are starting or improving agility. And so I'm a real fan of the retrospective. For me personal, I think I like to see the retrospective at the heart of Agile. It is about continuous improvement and learning, and do some reflection on personal level.
You see that a lot of times, and also from my experience, that indeed the retrospective is skipped, and that can be at any time in the maturity of your Scrum team. And why is it skipped in practice then? Why are the teams coming to a point that they say, hey, we don't want to do the retrospective, we just skip it? What is the reason?
So I heard all kind of reasons for skipping the retrospective. And sometimes they say it's boring, it's too repetitive. So that's one. Another one is they feel pressure to deliver. So they say we skip the retro and we can use the time to deliver something, some software, for instead. And sometimes it's just a brainstorming session. And then it's like blaming, complaining, and there's no improvement made, and there's no follow-up. So that's what I hear in practice and see in practice.
What I see also is that managers are really demanding, forget this retrospective, develop this, because that's way more important.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I see that. And what happens then? That's interesting, because if you leave the retrospective, you miss the point to learn and improve. So you're basically you're canceling your improvement and your learning opportunities. So and then it all stops. So we're gonna deliver and we go at pace maybe, but we are not course correcting on stuff or improving stuff. And that should be we could do better, right?
Absolutely. It's about the improvement. We need to improve to get better, have more fun also. How can we get more fun in our team? How does that works better then after that you implemented more fun? So be very curious to invent this kind of situations that you create more fun. But one of the things what happens a lot in this kind of situation, and I saw it also myself, that the teams indeed think it's boring. We come back to the same old story. It's again the same impediment or the same problem what we dive into, and we see the same improvement activities, but nothing happens. What can you advise to a team like that?
So as a facilitator or Scrum Master, it's important to set the stage. So you can read the room, you can look at the people. So where are they at? Just read the energy of the people and get them engaged in the session. And you can use all kind of maybe icebreakers or other stuff to make it more fun. But also important is that you can improve something. So I would say experiment with things. Try something out. Do something else.
Like by example that you ask somebody else to lead the retrospective.
Could be maybe someone from the team or maybe another Scrum Master or facilitator.
Yeah. It's also nice to see how another Scrum Master works in your team. That's indeed very interesting. And can a manager do the retrospective?
Oh, that's a nice question. That's the first time somebody asked me this. So why not? I think it should be a good exercise for a manager to experience what it is to facilitate and to keep equal voice within the team, or stay focused, or stop the complaining.Maybe.
Yeah.
I would say go for it. Yeah.
Try it, but of course don't do it too often, because the manager is the manager and he's talking about your pay slip. And there is a bit of you want to have a secure, psychologically secure environment, of course. But I like the idea that you experiment with that, because it will give very nice insights for the manager himself. So he will learn how the team works and etc. and way more inside information if the team is willing to do that.
Of course,
till a certain level.
Really.
That's something you need to agree on with the team, but don't do it too often. Because you want to have this psychologically safe environment. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
Okay. So we should not skip the retrospective. That we are agreeing with that. So we need to find all kind of attractiveness in the retrospective, but also make it very attractive make it attractive for the people to attend to, but also get value out of it. And if you really implement the improvements, then you get also fun out of it, because hey, we managed this, we solved this. And that gives also another energy to the team again, and try to have that cycle running. So we agree with that. Absolutely, we should not skip the retrospective.
Yeah, keep the flow going of improvements. So this follow-up is important. So everybody sees, hey, we're taking small steps, and all these small steps together of improvements make big steps.
Absolutely.
So if you look after half year of improvements, look at what you can achieve or have succeeded. It's very important to see that.
Now, do you have an example of a fantastic retrospective, what you did?
Oh, different ones. So for instead, I had this facilitator. She was starting with this team, and she thought, oh, that's a bit boring. Everybody is like a little bit, yeah, okay. So she did a session about candy love, and it's just you put this box of M&Ms or colored candy in a jar, and everybody picks a candy with a color, and a color says one question. Red, for example. So what's your favorite television series? So you're telling something personal, but for instead you take the yellow one, and it might be a life goal. So that could be revealing information about yourself for the team. And I saw they were really discovering each other on a personal level, and that created much more connection. And they're really fun also, because who doesn't like M&Ms?
Yeah, it's a bit, I understand. And I also see this purpose of this exercise to really get a kind of team building, especially in the beginning of the maturity of the team. It's important. How does it work if that is, well, nowadays remote? That's difficult. Okay, you need to find a solution for that.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of using online tools, collaboration tools, whiteboard tools, to keep people focused, and you have something to do that makes it more fun, but you're also collaborating on a whiteboard together. It's almost like in real life, you put the stickies on the board, but now you're doing it on your screen, right? Mm-hmm. And you can watch everybody adding something, and you can make a game out of it, but you can be seriously like, you can create a root cause analysis and ask the 5K why question. So you can put it down, write it down. Everybody can put something to it. So it really stimulates the collaboration. So, and as a facilitator, you have to keep focused and read the room again. So is everybody engaged? Are they have an equal voice? So people who like to be more quiet, invite them to speak, ask about their opinion. And people who are maybe more big mouth, just ask them, okay, can you hold on for a second? And for example, so it's important about being a facilitator in this situation.
Okay.
But also experiment with this. But keep your focus, I would say.
Yeah, and again, stay doing it. Stay on retrospectives. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Is there more to say about retrospectives?
Yes, of course. Of course. But I think you already mentioned the psychological safety. That's important. It should be safe enough to talk about things in the team. So there's no repercussion about people saying things. So that's important. An equal voice, I find also important. So everybody has a talk. So not only 2 people out of 5 are talking. So there are a lot of things.
Yeah, so it needs to be, you need to find a way to make it efficient and effective for yourself, for your own team, to do so and experiment with that. That's the main question there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and to wrap this up, look at the goal of your retrospective. I would say it can totally be different next sprint, right? Maybe you're preparing a retrospective for like a root cause analysis, but maybe you have to talk about the communication within your team, or something is not working in the test environment, or stuff like that. So it's really at the moment to be bold and to maybe to change at that point to get the real goal for that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at the Scrum Master role, what can you advise? Looking at the retrospective, what can you advise towards Scrum Masters?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think a great Scrum Master creates interesting retrospective. Is always looking forward to improve. So he finds out what is needed for the current situation. And I would say be bold, have courage, and try to experiment and do something else. So just try it.
Okay.
But Lane, you have some experience also. Maybe for the managers, we talked about that before. So what would be your advice then for managers regarding to retrospectives?
Oh, a nice question too. About managers, what should they do, and what is wise to do? If something happens with a retrospective, and especially if they skip the retrospective, and if you see that as a manager, be very surprised, because you know it's about the health of your organization. You want that your organization improves in maturity, that they improves in professionalism, in quality, in production, in capacity. So you don't want them to skip a retrospective. So be surprised and ask maybe the Scrum Master, how come? What's the situation? And also look at yourself, retrospect yourself, in fact, by asking yourself, what did I cause that one way or another? Did I have influence on that? Was I too extreme, saying it needs to be done and you need to finish it, that they skipped the retrospective? Look at yourself also. What is your role? And next to that, if you analyze that and come to a certain conclusion, try to improve your behavior in the organization. And in the second phase, I should say, if you can mend this and try to explain to Scrum Masters or the Scrum Master in stake, well, how come this cannot be in line with the Agile thoughts? Can you improve it? Can you mend it? So that's, I would say, is a good idea for managers. Look at yourself, discuss it with the Scrum Master, and try to mend it.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity for personal growth, right?
Absolutely, a personal growth.
Yeah.
And So, okay, thank you very much, Cris, for this podcast. It was interesting to talk with you about retrospectives. Very nice subject, and there is a lot happening there. And one of the main questions which came out of it was, do not skip the retrospective. I hope that was very clear in this podcast. Thank you, listeners. If you want to hear more about this kind of podcast, this kind of conversations, go to our website, www.avenuecode.com, and subscribe to the podcast. For now, Cris, thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you for the interview. It was my pleasure, and goodbye.
See you on the next episode of the AC Talks podcast. To check more of our content, access avenuecode.com. Thank you and see you next time.